It's recording.
Right, you can take us in.
Alright. I don't know how. I don't know how we're introing it, though. I mean, we could just say, this is the Just Another Two Guys... No. Welcome to Just Another Two Guys podcast with Claire and Edward. I don't know.
You can just do a bunch of takes of this and then, cut it in editing.
Honestly, that's the point. That's the point. We need to just, do something, and then eventually we'll just add it as the intro.
Two guys, two podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, watch, we'll figure it out eventually.
Exactly.
Probably. Or this will just be the intro, and it'll just, people will just have to listen.
Isn't that charming and endearing?
It kind of is. Honestly, I feel like
that really gives off the whole slapdash ramshackle vibe we're going on.
Yeah, and then, I don't actually know who's going to be listening to this. I know a bunch of people wanted to listen to it, but is anyone actually going to, listen to it all the way through?
I mean, we can always hope not, right?
Yeah, we're going to get to a point and no one's going to care anymore, but I feel because so many people were excited that we were making this podcast, Clara was super excited.
Yeah, a lot of people we talked to, and then I think they've all forgotten about this. Because
we have all the followers on Instagram.
We do. Wait, we do?
Yeah, we have...
I haven't checked that account in a while.
Oh my god, we have so many followers on that account. Well, not so many, but too many. We have 50 followers on the Just Another Two Guys.
Man, we really just accidentally introed this podcast, huh?
We really did.
Alright.
That's okay.
Well, we're here now. Do we want to start getting to our topics just for this first episode?
Yeah, sure. So, we're going to be talking about podcasts, more specifically...
This one,
and why we decided to make this podcast, or what's gonna be this podcast.
All right, so should we start with why we decided to?
Yes.
I think this is your story more than mine.
Why we decided to make this podcast, I actually don't remember, but we were sort of just sitting in math class, and I kind of go, "Oh, wouldn't it be so funny if we just started a podcast?" And then no one said no. And
it was kind of a bit that spiraled out of control.
It really was a bit, and then because
now it's really not a bit.
It's really not a bit. I feel like it should have been a bit. It should have ended at lunch, but then we took it to lunch.
Yeah.
And then everyone got really excited.
And now we're here.
We are here, and
we're figuring it out.
Yeah. So for the first little bit, it's just gonna be weird. I feel like it's always gonna be weird.
Yeah. But I mean, would anybody expect anything else?
No, I think the point of this is that it's just random.
At the end of the day, this is still a bit, just one that's gone on too long.
Everyone's gonna get tired of it.
This bit's been going on 4 months now, what?
Yeah. Oh god, it has. Because we took a break from the bit for a while.
Yeah.
Summer happened and we were well, we don't need to do it over summer.
The bit just sort of, it hovered under the surface.
Over the summer, I was sort of oh, well, we're both busy, so we don't need to do this yet. But then, my parents were are you and Edward gonna do that podcast? And I was probably. At some point. But then I was talking to Clara when I saw her before I went on my trip, and she was just yeah, you guys are gonna get together and do that podcast, right? And I was well, I'm leaving for 2.5 weeks, but And
you know what? We made it. We did it. And worst comes to worst, this is the one episode we do.
And honestly, would that be such a bad thing?
Well, we'll see how this first one goes.
Yeah.
We'll see what the reception's like.
See, I feel the other thing we could do is we can invite more people on.
Yeah.
And then we can just have them talk as well.
Yeah, so we don't have to think of other topics.
Yeah, I have firefighting with Clara.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We could get Jay on here, talk about birds and birding.
Yeah, and then it really becomes a podcast because it's two people who have nothing to contribute and one person who's really smart.
Exactly. And then we have other people to, I don't know, because
we got nothing?
We really got
Between
nothing.
us, there's nothing really exceptional.
Well,
it's like theater.
I feel we can talk and have a good conversation just to get to the point where we have nothing.
Well, how many times can we have the same good conversation and people stay listening?
That's true. Especially if we're two people with no knowledge on a subject. I think we should have a podcast where we just talk about sports.
I think that'd be really funny.
See, I don't even know where to get information about sports.
I know a vague amount from when I played when I was 9.
Okay, yeah, so I played soccer when I was 5. Then I had to quit because I was more interested in, sitting in the field and...
I think we should take it a step further and talk about fantasy sports.
That's...
Because then we're both so lost. We have no knowledge basis.
I don't even understand why people... Like, what does...
So it's sports, but imaginary. And it's all numbers. It's really more competitive math than anything.
That's so stupid. But, like, how do you... So are there actual players?
So how it works is at the start of the league, because they play in leagues, you draft a team, and that team's made up of real players from other teams. And then your team gets blended up into a statistics blender.
Oh, so it's basically just calculating stats.
Essentially. Why? And then you win or lose money based off your stats.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm sure there's podcasts about that somewhere. If people really wanted a fantasy sports podcast, then they could...
See, but no one who listens to this wants a fantasy sports podcast. What they want is to hear us not understand fantasy sports.
That's true.
Should we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, well, I feel like we didn't actually finish talking about why we just decided to start this podcast.
I mean, I think in honest, because it'd be funny.
Yeah, I guess it is just the bit, and then everyone was like, yeah, you should. I feel like in my mind, it was sort of like, I feel like it would be really funny if we had a conversation.
And then just recorded it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, the one time we hung out, you and me, was the one time we went on that walk.
Yeah.
Like, before a home show.
Yeah, it's also just the weirdest podcast ever, because we, like, don't hang out.
No, we don't. Like, us planning this was me going, so... podcast?
Well, I just told you, tell me when to be there and I'll do it.
Okay, but I'm so bad at planning things, so that's the other
But
issue.
you know what? I made it here.
You did, that's true.
Yeah.
And...
It was a long swim.
You took the river?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. But, what type of topics are we going to talk about, Edward?
Well, we got a big old list back here that's like theoretical. So this one, we're gonna talk a little bit about podcasts and about our knowledge basis for what this is. TV, movie, books, those are like all fantastic things that we could probably each talk for hours about.
Probably, yeah.
We could probably do an entire episode on How I Met Your Mother between the two of us.
We totally should.
We should do that.
I'll write that down after. I love How I Met Your Mother. Improv.
I know a lot about improv.
I want to invite someone to that one.
I think we should invite John Luca to that episode.
We could invite John Luca to that one.
Planes.
I was thinking of inviting Finn.
Finn and John Luca. Especially if they like John Luca from the improv episode.
That's true. I feel like...
We can really test the waters with John Luca.
But then John Luca has to come to my house. So many people have to come to my house. Yay.
Or we can find another space to do this.
We should find a new space to do this in. Honestly, because, ooh.
That way it's not at your house.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright, we got Firefighters with Clara.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Because Clara really wanted to talk about firefighters.
And she knows more about it than
a lot of people.
Probably most people who aren't firefighters.
Yeah, we could see if we know any firefighters. There are firefighters down the street over there.
Do you want to go beg one of the firefighters for an interview?
I mean, we could. No one's saying we can't.
I mean, yeah, there's no harm in asking.
So
Clara and a real firefighter in the same room?
Perfect.
And then we just sit there awkwardly.
I'll get that sorted out here real quick.
Beauty.
Don't you worry.
We got music.
I was thinking of also inviting someone to that, or we can do, like, 2 separate things where it's, like, one of them is, like, music. We can, like, invite, like, Annika or something, and she can talk about,
we could bring on... If we did 2 separate episodes on music, we could, bring Annika on for one and then, Jack on for the other.
Okay.
We just have to filter Jack.
Right. Okay, because, like, I feel like there's so many different areas of music that
because me and Jack play music together.
Right,
so... Yeah. We got Birds with Jay.
Of course.
That'll be a long episode.
Yeah. I really want to read the grade 11 one-acts that we did.
Like a table, like a radio play?
Yeah, like I want to read out It's Snowing.
I'm not being Jingles again.
Oh, but you're so good as Jingles. I wrote it specifically for you. You know that, right?
Fine. For one night and one night only, I'll reprise my role. That's it. That'd be really fun, actually.
Yeah, and then I was thinking we get like Clara and John Luke.
Yeah, I won't appear for And Cut. I will be gone for that day.
Don't worry, it's okay. We don't need to read that one if you don't want.
Yippee! We got sports.
Sports, of course.
We already went over that one.
Board games.
Board games. I'm a board game fanatic.
Yeah.
I could talk about board games for years.
I'm like my family friends and my family we're all board games people.
Beauty.
I'm like the least board games person out of everyone I know, actually.
Do we have weirdly a lot in common?
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other reason I was like, we should do a podcast, because I feel like we have a lot in common, but we're like
We just never speak.
We just never speak.
Yeah.
So.
We got camping.
Camping.
I do a lot of camping.
I used to do a lot of camping. The board game people were camping people too.
And then you bring the board games camping.
We actually did, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
That's sick. I keep a travel cribbage board in my backpack.
Oh, yeah. My parents we went on a hiking trip once. They brought a cribbage board up a mountain.
I mean, where's a better place to play crib than the top of the mountain?
That's fair.
We got school.
I want to talk about the fact that it is grade 12.
And that you're terrified.
Scary.
And that other people are terrified.
Scary.
And all the terrifying things. We got jobs. I work a pretty interesting job.
I don't have a job, but I babysit, which is technically a job.
It's almost like my job, which also technically isn't a job. But you'll have to wait and see what I mean there.
Yeah. Gotta wait for the job episode.
We got writing.
I have stuff written down for that one.
Okay, cool.
Everything with a little dot beside it, I have stuff written down.
Yeah, you had me way lost on that one.
I just kind of want to talk about this is going to go hand in hand with the podcast episode where it's like, are we going to script these to an extent? No.
So that might be like next week we'll talk about writing?
Yeah.
Give like a couple or not next week, whenever we do this next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives people a little bit of a knowledge basis for what on God's green earth we're doing.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. We've got reading true crime. That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really want to like...
I've got a good true crime voice.
You do, that's true. And I also really like true crime, so I feel like we could just do a whole episode of just that.
Yeah, really just emulate other podcasts. We could just do that. We could just do one episode emulating a ton of different podcasts.
Can we do like a spin-off of the Glee podcast? Where we both watch a Glee episode and then we talk about Glee? Okay, I listened to the Glee podcast.
I'm gonna let you go on about Glee for like 30 more seconds and then we'll see where this goes.
Okay, no, I really like listening to the Glee podcast because they get to talk about all the behind the scenes, but it's two people who weren't really, like, they were obviously main characters, but it's like, what's their faces, who played Tina and Artie. So they talk about like the behind the scenes and how they're like, yeah, we didn't really have any lines in this, but they were there. Anyway, I like it a lot, and then they bring on other characters.
That sounds interesting, genuinely.
They did one with Darren Criss. I love Darren Criss.
I know.
He played Blaine.
You can do an episode about Darren Criss if you want.
Blaine Warbler. We all love Blaine Warbler. His actual name is Blaine Anderson. Anyway, that's besides the point. I don't need to go on about...
We've got reading weird product reviews.
Yeah, that one might be a little hard because it's like... Obviously, we're not, like, filming anything.
Yeah.
But, like, I still want to just go through.
We could just like go at find random things on Amazon.
That was.
There's
sort of an idea.
There's actually a great game I play sometimes with my friends. It's called Discord. The Price is Right.
Ooh.
You find a thing on Amazon, and it does work admittedly better when you have visual references, but we can probably do it audio only. You find a weird thing on Amazon, and you make your friends guess how much it costs.
Okay.
And then you play closest without going over.
All right, perfect.
And then we got reading movie reviews. That could go hand in hand with our movies episode.
Yeah.
And then we could just talk about bad movies.
Yeah.
I love bad movies.
Bad movies are, like, kind of good.
Yeah, but they're also bad.
Like, I used to watch Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's this guy, and he's forced to watch bad movies.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so fun, because he just makes fun of them the entire time.
Oh yeah, I just go on Netflix sometimes and pick a random film.
I love watching the Netflix films, because they're so, like... cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, the teen ones are so
funny. Or like
funny.
any comedy that describes itself as raunchy from the early 2000s.
No,
they're all the same. They're all really so bad.
They really
and they all have weirdly star-studded casts.
Yeah.
There's like one movie, it's called like Movie 37 or something. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but what it is, basically one guy had a bunch of favors from a bunch of celebrities and cashed them all in to make a star-studded comedy anthology film.
Yeah,
and
I've heard of that.
Got like 17% on IMDb. I watched it. It's terrible.
But that that's I've heard of that one.
It's so bad, but it's so much fun because of how bad it is.
Yeah, and how like star-studded the cast.
Yeah.
is. But yeah.
It's like Hugh Grant has a ball sack on his chin. That's a 5-minute joke.
Oh, that goes on for a little.
Oh, it actually might have been more than 5 minutes.
Oh, that's.
It goes on a really long
way
time.
Way too long
to
go on a joke then.
I mean, we've been doing this joke for 4 months. I don't think we can talk.
That's true.
All right, next one. What podcasts do we like and listen to? Do you want to go first?
Okay. Well, everywhere that I'm, like, drawing this idea for this podcast from is specifically from the Everything is Creepy podcast, which is by, like, Lauren Zside, that she does with her husband, and then they, like, talk about, like, random topics, and then, like, how it's creepy. Like, they talked about, like, how Disneyland is creepy, and, like, they talk about their experiences, like, going to Disney, or, like, creepy theories, like, that sort of thing. And I was like, oh, that would be cool, because then you have different subjects within the podcast, and then you talk about that. And then, like, I don't know, I listen to a lot of just random stuff. A lot of the time I'll look up, like, celebrity interviews, like, whenever I'm really into a celebrity, like Darren Criss. I'll listen to all the podcasts Darren Criss has been on. Or, like, for a while...
Are there a lot of those?
Oh, quite a few, actually. You'd be surprised. And then that's how I found the Glee podcast. Which I listen to sometimes to go to sleep, because it's just white noise at this point. But also I listened to it, like, on the plane to Scotland, so what can I really say? What type of...
So my frame of reference for this podcast, because I'll go off what you said, is it's one called Distractable.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So it's Markiplier and then two of his friends.
Yeah.
And basically how they do it, and we're not stealing this part, but they gamify the podcast. So the host is basically chosen by the last host at the end of every week, based on an irrelevant point system. Think like whose line is it anyways?
Right.
But the thing that they do is they also cover very different topics every time, chosen by the host. So basically, that's how they gamify it. It's like sometimes they'll like do trivia. Sometimes it'll just be like, tell a story about how you got hurt, and the funniest story wins. And it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of friends just BSing. And yeah, it's a great time. And we have friends that we BS with.
We do have friends that we BS with.
I don't think we're as funny as Markiplier, though.
I could argue.
You think you're as funny as Markiplier?
No, I don't.
Where's your gold play button, Claire?
I did start a YouTube channel with my dad when I was like 5.
How many subs you got?
I think we have like 20 something.
I mean, that's not bad.
I know, it's not bad.
That's 20 people who said, I want to watch this, like, 4-year-old play video games.
And we didn't actually know all of them, either. So...
That's wild and just marginally concerning.
Yeah, I know. It's a little concerning.
Yeah.
But also, kind of cool if you think about it.
I once knew a guy who started a YouTube channel that got, like, 100 subscribers, and one of them was, like, a prince from, just a far-off country.
Like a real prince?
As far as they knew.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess he was really bored and just scrolled YouTube.
I feel like if I got over, like, 100 subscribers that weren't people that I knew, I would be so scared.
Yeah. I feel like if there was 100 people I didn't know watching me play video games...
That would be horrifying.
Yeah.
I could not deal with that. Like...
Which is weird, because you perform for hundreds of people, and it's so much scarier than video games.
That's true. But it's like... I don't know. I feel like even this, like, there's so many people who are following the podcast Instagram who I'm like, oh, I don't know you. That's a little worrying.
You don't?
There's a couple people because they, like, know you.
This podcast Instagram's almost a mystery to me. I'm going to do some investigation. Some freelance... This is the true crime part of the episode, actually.
No, because I would get all these notifications about it, and I'm like... Oh, who are you? Who are you? So, if you're listening to this and you don't know who I am, I'm probably scared of you. That's a lie. But, like, we posted about this on our Instagrams.
Yeah.
So it's like...
There are some people I don't know either on here.
That's my friend Suleiman.
Cool.
I consider you his replacement.
Were you supposed to do a podcast with him?
No.
Or do you mean as a friend?
Yeah. Like, as a type of person. See, when I was in elementary school, if he's listening to this, it's gonna be so weird.
He follows the Instagram.
Right, so, you know. Anyway, no, in, like, elementary school, we were, like, best friends.
Yeah.
And he was basically you. I don't know.
I mean, if it's any consolation, this was my plan the whole time. I received a vision in a dream during the 9th grade.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so... It's so weird.
Yeah. Anyway, he's gonna hear this now.
Oh, no. Sorry, Suleiman. But,
So yeah, other than that, other podcasts I listen to, because I got off on a tangent.
Right.
I listen to a live play podcast for, like, D&D, called The Adventure Zone.
You would.
I've been listening to that regularly for the last 5 years.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we should put D&D on the...
I would talk about, like, just
thing.
TTRPGs in general.
Okay.
It's done by... It's done by I hesitate to use the term a podcasting family, but that's kind of what it is. So there's these three brothers. They're called the McElroy brothers. And they host a podcast. They have two podcasts together, and then I think each one of the three brothers also has a podcast with their wife.
Oh.
And I think their three wives have a podcast together. And then I think their dad also has a separate podcast besides The Adventure Zone.
That's interesting.
And then they also wrote a book on podcasting.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
They've been podcasting probably about as long as I've been alive. No word of a lie.
That's terrifying.
I
but
know.
I mean, if you devote your life to it, I mean...
Yeah, they're like...
They better be good podcasters.
Yeah, they really podcast.
I wonder what type of setup they have. Probably better than ours.
I think they actually do everything on Skype calls.
Oh, so probably not better than ours, but their podcast is definitely better than ours.
Because they have more experience. They have enough experience to write a book.
I think we could write a book if we really tried.
About podcasting?
Yeah, I think one of the
podcasts
podcasts
would be 20 pages long.
I think one of the podcasts should just be us writing the book about podcasting.
Actually, I don't even know if we could manage 20 pages. It'd be 20 pages long at font size 20.
Oh my god. I think we could fill a book with some amount of knowledge. Or anything, you know? Like...
Anything, if we put all of our knowledge together into a book, I think it would be like 200 pages.
Maybe a little bit less.
175.
There we go.
Yeah, okay. Other than that, because I listen to actual podcasts a lot. What else do I listen to? I listen to 2 podcasts about Magic the Gathering.
Of course.
Because I'm so cool. And then occasionally I'll listen to like random YouTuber podcasts. Like Curtis Connor's podcast, or
right.
The Official Podcast, which is Moist Critical.
Yeah, I think on, like, occasion, if there's a episode that I'm like, ooh, that looks interesting, I'll do that.
Yeah,
but I'm not a regular listener to many YouTuber podcasts.
I find a lot of them say the same things, and it's just a YouTuber's opinions.
Yeah, there's too many YouTuber podcasts.
And a lot of them have the same opinions. A lot of YouTubers.
Yeah, so it's just listening to the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But on that note, there are so many podcasts out there,
There really are a lot of podcasts. And a lot of them are the same. And does the fact that we're aware of that make us any different?
No, because I'm sure someone else has gone like...
Guys, aren't there a lot of podcasts? I'm going to make a podcast.
To talk about the fact that there are so many podcasts out there. I feel like that's the other bit that this was. Because that's like...
Yeah, that was sort of the other half of it, was like... we'll get to this a little bit more when we talk about why we named the podcast, but the fact that I was just going to be another white guy with a podcast was really funny.
It was really funny, and like...
And now I have a podcast.
You do.
I think I've joined like the 40% of white men with a podcast.
My dad has a podcast.
Is that how we got this set up?
Yep, this is all his stuff.
Yeah.
He bought this, like, machine, because it was on, like, do you know the Disney Plus, like, TV show, Only Murders in the Building?
I do, actually.
Yeah, they used this specific machine, and my dad saw it and went, I'm gonna start a podcast.
Is it an Only Murderers in the Building fan podcast?
No, it's like, he's, like, reading his book or something.
That actually sounds kind of awesome.
Or he's talking about something. I don't know, but... He doesn't tell me. I'm not allowed to listen to it. It's not that
crossover episode?
Crossover episode? We should get both our dads down here. Like, oh my god, that would be so
My
weird.
dad would sit there like a stoic statue the whole time. I feel like my dad would be like a gargoyle once you get him on tape.
I feel like a conversation between you and my father would be really, really odd. I feel like you guys also have a lot in common. My father's a lot like me.
Am I like a blend between Suleiman and your dad?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm a solution.
Oh my god. But yeah, there's so many podcasts out there, and we're just another podcast that you chose to listen to, dear listener. Probably Clara.
Thank you. I'll say that assertively.
It's been like 25 minutes. I hope people are still listening. Actually, I don't hope people are still listening.
They'll probably tune out after the first 5.
Yeah, like, I don't expect many people to listen to the entirety of these.
I mean, yeah.
Like, people, like, click on it and be like, oh, I listened to it.
Yeah. Oh, I know these people. And then they leave.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're gunning for.
Honestly, like, no one needs to sit and listen to us talk for half an hour. If they want to do that, they can do that in person.
Yeah. And really, is that like the best thing to play while you're studying?
Listening to us talk.
I mean, it sort of gives off the vibe of like being in like a crowded library, if that's your energy.
Or like even like just being in class.
Like sitting at a table with friends while you study.
Yeah, because it's kind of like we're all having a conversation, except we're just excluding you specifically, you know?
Well, because you're busy doing your math, right? You're doing your math, right? Good. Okay, anyway.
No, yeah, because, like, I feel like that's going to be the weirdest thing for people who do know us. It's like you're listening to us talk, and obviously people have heard us talk before.
Yeah.
Just they're not a part of the conversation.
And it'll be so much weirder for the people who don't know us if they ever listen to this.
Oh, that's the other thing, because I'm going to post this on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because we don't have anywhere else to post it.
Yeah, I mean, like, we could figure out, like, Spotify in theory,
Or
but
something, but...
I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, because then more people can hear it, and then
Yeah.
they're just listening to us talk.
Yeah.
Which is mildly worrying, but...
We'll figure it out.
Anyway, did you have any topics that you wanted to bring up or discuss, other than what we have already?
I mean, like you said, this episode was going to be about podcasts, eh? I think I've talked about podcasts.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
I mean, I said, like, I talked about, like, I might talk about board games in the future and, like, card games and stuff. But, I think that's all the topics I have for this episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we can get into why did we name it Just Another Two Guys? Because now we're in, like, the housekeeping portion of this, where we have to explain everything about our podcast.
All right, so let's roll it back to the time of the original bit, like a whole 4 months ago. I was genuinely down for the idea, except I would be a white guy with a podcast.
Yeah, because I brought it up, and I was like, wouldn't it be so funny if it was just, like, it's just another two guys? I think the original name for it was, like, Just Another Two White Guys.
Yeah, and then that was too long for, like, Instagram or something.
Yeah, so we changed it to Just Another Two Guys with the number 2.
And you know, we're just another two guys. That's honestly kind of the, like, the wholest vibe of it, is it's just two friends.
Yeah.
Just chilling out.
Yeah, and then, like, eventually, what are we going to do when there's more people? Then it's not just another two guys.
It's going to be another 3 guys.
Or another 4.
Or 5?
Or 6?
No, that's way too many.
That's too many.
Can you imagine 6 people trying to do a podcast together?
And we still do it in the basement.
Oh yeah, we all just cram in here.
Oh, great.
We actually reduce our space for the number of people.
Ooh.
By the time we get to 10, it'll be in an outhouse.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love this idea.
10 people, 1 mic, 1 outhouse.
Love it, love it.
It's like a WWE cage match.
See, actually, there's, like, microphones on the top thing there.
Oh.
Those, I turn them all the way down, because otherwise it sounds really bad. But you don't even need these microphones. You can just talk right into the top of that.
Yeah, really just do it round table style.
Yeah. We could just film one of the improv senior meetings. And it's just...
Guys, is it okay if I use this for my podcast?
Ethan's just like, what the heck? It's like, yeah. We need more just filler content.
People are gonna miss so much, like, there's gonna be so much context missing if they don't know us in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna be like, who's Clara?
Because this is really established on the
Who's
basis of
Gianluca?
people knowing who we are.
And who our friends are.
Yeah.
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 Oh, well.
Do we ever want to explain that?
No.
Or should we let them pick up on context clues?
Well, eventually they'll meet all these people. Hopefully.
I don't think Ethan's ever going to be on the podcast.
That's true. We don't need to explain Ethan. He's
Yeah.
self-explanatory.
Yeah, you should understand already.
Yeah, like, duh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we named it Just Another Two Guys because we're just another two guys.
Yeah.
And
We're just here. We started a podcast.
And it is just a bit, so why would we put that much effort into it? Like, we could come up with some clever name.
But this isn't a clever thing we're doing.
No, it's really not.
It's by nature sort of just there.
Which poses the question, why are we actually doing this?
Yeah.
Like, why?
We're sort of like, it's the artistic equivalent. We're not just throwing a rock into the water, we're skipping it, but it only skips once.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, like we're putting effort, but just not enough to make it spectacular.
And we can kind of phrase it as we're like, oh, this is our little senior project that we're doing. But still, we're just not putting any effort into it.
Really, the only reason we're here is because a bit got out of hand.
Yeah, and now we have to...
Yeah, commit to the bit and never quit.
That's true. Because if you can't stick by your guns, how can you shoot guns? Anyway.
the age-old, not idiom. What's the thing? Proverb. If you can't stick by your guns, how you gonna shoot guns?
And I think that's really the vibe of this podcast.
Yeah, we're sticking by our guns. We're shooting guns. Not literally.
Except for podcast episode number 100, where we shoot guns.
We record a podcast at a firing range. It'll be so bad.
Oh, it'll be so loud.
You won't hear anything.
But you know, people will listen to that one.
It'll just be like
But people will listen to that one because it'll be episode 100.
Yeah, and it'll really be like ambient audio of guns firing.
Will be used.
Isn't
somewhere.
that calming?
But yeah.
Yeah, we've sort of covered everything on the agenda, and we're
31, 53, 54, 55.
So are we just going to keep talking for it? Just fill some more time?
Well, we could.
We could just build this out to like 45 minutes an hour and then...
that sounds awful. These poor people who have to listen to us talk.
Well, we can add more topics. We could
add more topics, or we could stop this and then pretend that we know what we're doing and film another episode.
I mean, do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, Beauty. Should we figure out an outro as well, or should we do it just like we did the intro?
Anyway, so I think, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be what this is going to be. We're going to try to put something out like every 2 or 3 weeks, probably. Does that sound right?
Yeah, once we get like a bank, then we can...
And then maybe go to weekly if we get a backlog done.
Yeah.
We could even try to get 3 episodes done today.
I feel like we definitely could.
Yeah.
That's doable.
Yeah.
I only have notes for 2 types of podcasts, but you know.
It's fine. We can
bullshit. We can talk about how I met your mother. That's true.
We both do improvised theater.
Oh, so we should be better at this.
We could do a radio play improv episode. We would just actually like do radio improv.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'd like to bring more people on for that one. But...
Well, yeah, obviously.
Anyway, should we? Do you want to take this out properly?
I feel like I could just take something from anywhere in there, and I could just be like, and that's gonna be the end of our podcast.
Yeah.
If you listen this far, I'm really sorry. Why? But make sure you listen to the next one, because otherwise we are gonna stop doing these. That's a lie. We're never gonna stop doing these until we get sad.
Anyway, that was just another 2 guys.
That was just
Thanks
another
for
2
listening.
guys. And yeah.
And we're out.